Welcome back, FUD Nation. Now, thank you guys so much for such a wonderful, wonderful reception on my kitchen episode yesterday. And as all of you clever, sharp-eyed viewers have detected, I'm back in my kitchen. Some things stay the same in the crypto market. Some things never change. And one of those things that never changes is that Bitcoin always changes. And all of yesterday, we got hit with one of the most devastating one-day drops that we've seen in months, if not all year. And here we are sitting on year-to-date lows on the Bitcoin chart, as well as many other charts. Now, there are some silver linings of news here. The head of the IMF, Christine Lagarde, is now urging central banks to consider making digital currencies. We're here to talk about another thing that hasn't changed. And no, I'm not talking about the pineapple. I am, however, talking about my love for stellar lumens. Now, the chart I'm showing you here, and yes, for all of you who were watching yesterday's episode, will know that I have graciously moved my face away from the bottom right of the chart, as was requested. You request, I deliver, because I care about you, FUD Nation. If you were to look at this chart, honestly, you would say that this looks somewhat similar to the Bitcoin chart over the last few months to years. This looks like the 2018 Bitcoin chart, more or less. However, if you take a closer look, you'll see a chart that looks like this. Now, that first chart we showed you was Stellar's price in USD. And this chart that I'm showing you is Stellar's price in BTC comparative. Right now, Stellar's sitting at, comfortably above 4,000 Satoshis, something like, around 4,200 Satoshis. Now, if you scroll back and we look at the all-time high, we're looking at just over 6,000 Satoshis at the all-time high for Stellar Lumens. Now, I'm sure some people have figured out how to buy Stellar direct with credit card with US dollars, but for the most part, what you're doing is you're buying Bitcoin and then you're reinvesting in altcoins like Stellar. What you're looking at is a 30%, a 33% drop off. Compare that with the losses that have been suffered throughout the rest of the crypto market. And you'll find that actually Stellar Lumens is looking extremely strong and is working its way back to an all-time high on the Bitcoin chart. And if you see here on the Bitcoin chart, as soon as it drops below 3,000 Satoshis, it's immediately coming back up. A little drop here down in June, another little one in July, and they just keep bouncing. It keeps testing this 3,000 Satoshi mark again in September, and now we're nowhere close to that. We're actually well above this 4,000 Satoshi mark, and which was looking like it was resistance before. Now it has overtaken EOS as the fifth most highly capitalized cryptocurrency by market capitalization, and now we need to look at exactly what Stellar's doing that is so stellar. So first things first, if you don't know about Stellar's founder, Jed McCaleb, well, here's a little bit of information for you. If you do, I'm gonna go through this really fast, so no need to tune out, get bored, because we're just gonna zoom right through this. Jed McCaleb didn't just create Stellar. Jed McCaleb also created XRP over at Ripple. And that's because Jed was one of the very first, earliest blockchain adopters and Bitcoin evangelists in the world. And he actually created a big, very widely known project before Stellar, before Ripple, and that was Mt. Gox. And actually, Mt. Gox is a funny abbreviation because the reason why Jed McCaleb created this was actually not to trade Bitcoin for the sake of making money. It was to exchange Bitcoin for the sake of trading Magic the Gathering cards. That's right, Mt. Gox, if you take it letter by letter, is MTGOX. MTGOX originally stood for Magic the Gathering Online Exchange. Now, without delving into what kind of a super nerd this makes Jed McCaleb for making an online exchange for Magic the Gathering, let's just go ahead and say he was very early in the concept of using Bitcoin as a medium of exchange, one of the first in the world to do so, and that's because he wanted to trade his Magic the Gathering cards without any PayPal fees. So here he created Mt. Gox, which eventually came to occupy 70% of the world's Bitcoin trades. He sold the platform, but then became very, very concerned with the practices going on. Many people seem to associate Jed with the Mt. Gox hack, even though he had stepped away from the platform months, if not over a year before that. The thing about it is Jed also reached out to the platform and explained that their current practices for security were not up to par and that they were risking getting hacked. There's actually several different communications between Jed McCaleb and the then owner of Mt. Gox that had purchased the platform from Jed, where Jed is desperately trying to get him to change his security practices because he's worried about the platform. And Jed offers at one point, if he doesn't change his security practices, that he wants no part of the exchange and that he wants to get rid of all his equity. This is the kind of forward-looking guy that Jed McCaleb is. He doesn't just create the first Bitcoin exchange before Bitcoin exchanging was even a thing, but he then predicts, almost in some senses, the biggest hack in Bitcoin history, which led to, of course, the 2014-15 nuclear bear market, which kind of seems a little bit like the type of bear market we're experiencing now. So maybe the Mt. Gox hack wasn't fully to blame. Maybe it was just a total overinflation of the bull run of Bitcoin in 2013, but that's its own topic. Anyway, let's get to the good stuff now that we've laid the foundation for why we love Jed McCaleb and Stellar so much. One of the things that makes Stellar so interesting is their desire to facilitate the swapping of value of any type of value holder to any other type of value holder, making them the ideal payment rail solution because they're allowing anyone to pay or get paid with whatever type of value they want. One of the main ways they're doing this is by building a decentralized exchange into the fabric of the blockchain itself. You don't need to create a DEX that uses Stellar. Stellar is a DEX that you can just build a front end on. And that's exactly what Stellar X is. They've created a completely free to use decentralized exchange built on Stellar that allows you to create pegs for almost any type of value holder you want. Right now, they have a few different fiat currencies, several different cryptocurrencies. As the founders of Stellar X say, they're not here for a cut. They refund all network costs. It costs you nothing to use. And all the while you have sole control over your assets trading wallet to wallet. They also have built-in compliance so that if you so choose as a token issuer, which you can do on Stellar, you can issue new tokens, you can do ICOs, you can build dApps, you can run DEXs. It's very agile and people don't quite give it that credit. They mostly compare it to Ripple as being a payment solution or a cross-border remittance solution. And that's just one small aspect of what they're doing. One of the big reasons that people would choose to issue Stellar tokens is that if you so choose, you can make your token KYC friendly and compliant. And that way, if any regulators choose to step in, you could say, hey, look, we vetted all of our investors and they're all here, they're all identified. And that's built right into the Stellar protocol. You don't need to build custom tools to make your coin regulation friendly and compliant. That's one of the reasons why Stellar is so far ahead in understanding where this world is headed. And they've been building these tools for years. We also know that Kik, the producer of the Kin token and Kinit app, and they're making a whole ecosystem, they're moving their entire operation to Stellar, even though they originally had launched as an ERC20. They're now moving entirely to Stellar because Stellar has the backbone, the infrastructure that they need. We also have word from the IMF's Christine Lagarde saying that central bank digital currencies should be considered by central banks because if not, the current digital currency ecosystem will come to take over normal fiat money. And they were saying that central banks could get ahead of this and create their own tokens. And if I were to guess, I would say that central banks would be heavily considering Stellar Lumens as a place to issue their currency based on a litany of factors, including compliance, as well as transparency, as well as infrastructure provided by IBM. I think that they are a phenomenal place to be creating CBDCs, or at the very least, as soon as those CBDCs become active, they will become traded on Stellar Lumens actively and widely. And whether or not they were issued on Stellar, they will become pegged on Stellar and become widely available and transferred through Stellar. So that's my prediction for CBDCs. I think Stellar Lumens is going to become the big hub if central banks start issuing their own currencies. Of course, we also have the news that Stellar will be listed on Coinbase. I would beware though, obviously, buy the rumor, sell the news. A lot of people will be selling Stellar Lumens as soon as it gets listed. Who knows, maybe it might pump like crazy when it gets listed. You can't predict the future here, but I know that Stellar Lumens will probably not go under 3,000 Satoshis, even if it dumps. And I do believe that Stellar has a lot more room to go. Is Stellar gonna be the highest growing token of all time? I don't know. It's already gone from a fraction of a penny to over 25 cents. So that's not exactly nothing. But I believe that it still has quite a ways to go. Am I saying Stellar will be worth $1,000 one day? No, its supply is just way too big. Do I think it could be worth $10 one day? Absolutely. $1 one day? Absolutely. Sitting and waiting for $100 or $1,000, I don't think that's why you should be investing into Stellar. But if you want to make a solid 5, 10, 20x on your investment with a currency that's going to be one of the most widely accepted and most highly functional currencies in the world, I think Stellar is a great option. And finally, now we get to Starlight, which is a new Lightning Network payment solution within the Stellar network. Essentially, the way this works is normally when you make payments on Stellar, which are insanely fast, we're talking about 2-3 second confirmations. Well, if that's not fast enough for you, there's also Starlight, which essentially works like a checking account. You can lock up a certain amount of funds, and then it's in your Starlight sort of Lightning account. As soon as those funds are locked up, they can be used in payment channels, and those payment channels are instant and free. So you have instant confirmation. It's completely free. There's no transaction cost, even though the transactions on Stellar are literally laughably cheap. So you pretty much couldn't even possibly spend a whole Stellar on transactions unless you made thousands of them. The reality is that Starlight will make these transactions completely free, and that they'll only hit the blockchain when you close that payment channel. I will really be surprised if people will need to unfreeze these funds so much. I believe the Starlight payment channel could grow to be as effective and as useful, if not more, than the idealized future for the Lightning Network on Bitcoin. Anyway, Stellar also has some really interesting programs going on where they do airdrops to different parts of the developing world, trying to inject lumens into different parts of the economy. And they also have this clarification, like, why would I buy Stellar if it's just going to be airdropped and given away? Well, the reality is I would pose you a different question. How can a money supply be adopted by the whole world if there are some early players that already control so much of it that everyone else is just at such a disadvantage? It's going to be a hard sell to get the world to adopt a new currency with some people so far ahead if there's not ways to sort of help other parts of the economy get involved and feel connected and start to value that currency and that network. That's why I believe that doing airdrops and helping inject and create a network effect where Stellar Lumens is held and possessed by the widest amount of people possible, I think that is part of the story of how Stellar is going to become really one of the currencies that helps shape the next generation of cryptocurrency. So that's why I think that their mission to actually give a lot of Stellar Lumens away is one of the most important things that they're doing. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think. I have a huge affection and love for Stellar Lumens. As this bear market starts to get even more bearish, I get even more bullish on Stellar. It makes me excited to see how strong it's holding its position and how much, even compared to Bitcoin, it continues to sort of gain and tries to get back to those all-time highs. I think it's a very unique coin in the market. As far as risk goes, I find it to be in the lower category of risk of any coins. I really love this project, and I hope you guys understand why. I've been rooting for them for a very long time, and I continue to do so. Let me know what you think. Is Stellar the future of payment solutions? Is Stellar a currency that can be sustainable for years on end? Are you guys very happy that I included the pineapple again? Let me know what you guys think of the episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope this bear market isn't getting you down because there's so much to be excited about. But we're going to be here for each other even through the bear market, and that's what matters. The crypto community is so strong and so resolute in supporting this technology that it has to succeed. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you guys love Stellar Lumens just like I do, and you are fanboying over Jed McCaleb, gosh, how big in the game is this guy? Mt. Gox, XRP, and XLM. He's an absolute legend. Let me know in the comments, are you guys as big of a fan as I am? Like I said, I hope you enjoyed the episode. I'm Elio Trades. You're watching FUD TV, and I'll see you very soon on the next episode.